because I used to do a lot of hard drugs. You would think I would look much older and more beat up than I do, but now I'm just like complimenting myself on camera. Delete all of this. So Michigan, it's refreshing because like you'll get in a conversation with like a barista or somebody, and it's just a regular, everyday, down to earth conversation, and I appreciate people from Michigan for that. Your nervous system is more sensitive than the average person. Like, so this is weird. When I go out to eat, for some reason, I can really hear like everybody's conversations going on, and it's overstimulating. And I used to think I had social anxiety, but after talking to these therapists, they're like, no, your nervous system's just heightened. So I'm picking up on 100 conversations plus the music, plate noise, whatever's going on, and it can become. That's why I like chill, quiet. Like I've been really enjoying like a libertarian point of view, because I feel like they will be critical of either side, which is good, but more so they'll be say when either side did something right. And that to me is refreshing, because when I'm talking to somebody, and let's say my mom, for example, hates all Republicans. When I talk to a person like that thinks all Republicans are bad, it's very clear to me that they're unreasonable and they're getting their news from a biased source.
That's true.
Or like on the other side of it, relatives I have that are Republican who think Democrats are. It's the same thing.
Thanks for coming, Ryan. Mr. Ryan Bennett.
Glad to be here. Terry Boo.
From Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan, yes.
I don't know why I remember that. Probably because you mentioned it a lot in your set material.
I tend to open with a little joke about Flint.
Is it close to Detroit?
Like an hour-ish. Maybe a little less, a little more, around like 45 minutes or so.
Was it a city or?
Flint?
Yeah.
Yeah, Flint was a big automotive
really?
city. Yeah, it was booming at one point where they had like all these car manufacturers, and so it was.
Right? Chevrolet.
Yeah. All the GM, I think.
GM.
Yeah, and then at one point, the CEO, in order to save money, sent that work all to like Mexico. So like 30,000 jobs were lost, and then Flint became a shithole.
Oh really? But were you during the shithole era? Or?
No, that was well before me. I was born into the shithole era.
Oh no! What was it like when you were growing up?
It was fine. You don't really notice when you come up in it. I mean, there were areas that I was told to stay away from because they're more dangerous than other spots. But
is there a big Okay, so we can cut anything out, but is there a big black population?
Yeah, it's primarily, I think it's black and white mostly. That's how I remember it anyways. I always want to like go back and check with people, go, am I making this up? But it was like, because I had Asian friends, Mexican friends, but there was only like a couple, but it was mainly like black people and white people in that area. Yeah.
Is it like 50-50 or like 60-40?
It's been so long since I've been there. I don't know.
When did you leave?
I left.
You went somewhere, North Carolina?
No, I moved to Charlotte. Yeah, I moved to Charlotte when I was in my 20s, and I lived down there for a little bit.
Not bad.
I like it. I started saying y'all as a joke, and then it sort of stuck.
How old were you when you went?
I want to say like 23.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why did you go?
Well, I was going to move out to Los Angeles, and my family had moved to Charlotte, and they were like, hey, come down here, it's more affordable, save some money, and then go to LA. And I was like, all right. And then I was there for almost a decade or however long, and I didn't save really any money until like the very end of it.
You were there for 10 years?
Just about.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I liked it. It was cool. It was you have the mountains, you have the ocean there, a little bit of a drive. It's nothing bad.
You don't want to go back to North Carolina ever?
I want to go to visit.
Yeah. You like LA?
That's where I started comedy, in Charlotte. So at the time, it was like you could probably get up like 4 nights a week or something like that. And so that's where I started going to open mics and everything. Dude, I had a roommate, and we both were like writing skits and funny ideas. And my plan was to wait until my writing was so strong to then go do stand-up. And he was just like, no, forget that. I'm going to go do stand-up tonight. And he went and did it while I was at work. And I got out of work and found out he went and did stand-up. And I was so jealous. And I'm like, screw that, dude. I'm going tomorrow, dude. And then I found, what was it? The Comedy Zone. Yeah, that's the club out there. And I ended up going to their mic, and like half of the set bombed, like the beginning half. So I got to feel that. And then the second half, I crushed.
Nice.
And I ended up winning chicken tenders.
Nice.
I had like joke
Start
of the night.
basically.
Pretty much, I had joke of the night. I had best joke, and
Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember exactly. The premise was that my parents raised me to be gay, and I had to come out as straight when I was a teenager. So I'd come home from school with a friend, and like we'd get to my doorstep, and I'd be like, "Hey, hold my hand," and he'd be like, "Why?" And I'd just be like, "Wait until we get to my bedroom, and then we can let go and hang out." And yeah, my dad had his eyes set on a nice Jewish boy down the road for me, and like, yeah, it was just a reversal.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
I like a reversal.
Yeah.
So you moved to LA during COVID, no?
Yeah. How'd you get this information? You're really out here paying attention.
No, because no, you said you were 23 when you went, and then you spent 10 years there.
Gotcha, yeah.
I just guessed.
Yeah.
How was that?
I moved here in 2021, so it was like still some COVID. People were still wearing masks. It was eventful. It was fun. I had just come off of a movie. I was working on a movie in Charlotte for like 4 months.
Right. Because Ryan is a set designer.
I used to do some set dressing, and moved to LA, and the unions didn't transfer over, so I had to figure out some other stuff. But yeah, it was fun. I just came off a movie, and me and my girlfriend both wanted to live out here, and we were like, before I get sucked into another movie for 4 months, let's just go now. And the plan was, I was writing pilots at the time. I wasn't doing comedy at the time.
What kind of pilots?
Just like some sitcom stuff like that. I was writing comedy, but I had, when I started doing comedy in Charlotte, I stopped because I got sucked into the film industry and started working there and was making real money doing that.
Oh, wow.
And then so comedy just fell to the wayside, but I never stopped thinking about it. Like, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this. I thought about comedy every single day. I would wake up. I had this note from my grandfather from when I first started comedy that said, "Hope your comic gig was okay." I had it framed, and I would just stare at it on the wall, like every day tormenting myself. But in my head, comedy was something that I had.
Wait, your grandpa?
My grandpa knew, because there was a video. I did a comedy competition the first time around in Charlotte. Yeah, so my family passed it around because my family really likes comedy.
Yeah.
So they were all stoked that I was doing this.
That's awesome.
So I would just stare at this note from my grandfather every day. And I just, in my head, I was like, I guess comedy's just a thing. I tried and gave it a shot, and that's it. And then when I moved out here, I was right by Flappers, and I was like, dude, if you don't go get on stage right now, you're an idiot. So I started back up in 2022.
Are you still in the same place when you moved?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we moved right to Burbank because all the addresses I was submitting like writing packages to were all Burbank addresses. So I'm like, well, let's just move there.
Have you been screenwriting still? Submitting stuff?
No, dude. Stand-up has taken over my mind. Do you write at all? Do you do any of like narrative stuff at all?
I just got rejected and then I stopped.
Damn. Well, I don't know if you feel this way, but so I had probably written 4 or 5 pilots, and then when I started doing comedy, it was like my favorite part of the pilots was like getting a good joke in there.
Oh, wow.
So then when I started doing comedy, you're just getting to the joke. And now I have like this one pilot that I really believe in, and I've told people about it, and I want to sit down and finish it. It's like 75% done.
Whoa.
But every time I sit down to write it, I'm so bored, and it just feels... I'm like, I just want to write a joke. And that's why I like the immediacy of stand-up, because I can write the thing now and go try it at night. And that's just, it's changed my brain in a way where I don't have patience to sit down and write a long-form narrative and figure out this character breakdown and all that stuff. Yeah, all that, yeah. That's...
But isn't it fun, though? Like, do you get to create your own world, like, inside?
It is, but something about the immediacy of having to do comedy now, I don't know. It's taken over my mind where I just feel like I've lost patience for the other stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We were talking about your family earlier. So are they still all in Charlotte?
No. My dad died 2023, and then my family moved up to Michigan, where I'm originally from. They moved in Lansing area. So that's where they're all at now, and it's nice to go back every now and then.
Familiar. Is it close to Ann Arbor? No. Detroit?
I should know this, but I don't. I'm not sure. I think it might be like an hour and a half away from Detroit. It's the capital of Michigan. I know that. High school education.
Detroit.
No, not Detroit. Lansing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Lansing's the capital.
Oh.
You would think.
Yeah.
Because Detroit's more popular, I guess.
Yeah. Do you still go back to the holidays?
Not during the holidays because it's so damn expensive. But I go back, like I'm trying to go back right now, summertime, and hang out and stuff. Yeah.
What's Michigan like? Because I've only been there once. I think I told you a long time ago that I used to work for this really weird baby insurance company. It's a long story, but go ahead.
Oh, really?
I don't get into it.
Hold on, what?
There's a baby life insurance company called Gerber Life. There's a Gerber baby brand. It's based out of Michigan.
Baby life insurance?
Gerber baby life insurance.
Now that's a scam, right? What is that?
It's not. It's when you take. This was my first job out of college.
Yeah.
It's when you take insurance, life insurance for your baby. If the baby dies, you get some money.
That's
Yeah, they're based out of Michigan.
interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that as a concept that existed, baby life insurance.
Yeah.
That's wild. No, I don't remember you telling me that. Michigan it has seasons, you know? So I think when people think about Michigan, they might think like just the winters. But no, if you were to go to Michigan right now, it's nice.
Nice.
You know, it's in the 70s. But yeah, it's a different group of people. It's like a hardworking, there's a good work ethic there, I think. And there's like regular people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Not like a
when I'm here,
crazy weirdo.
yeah, there's like the LA is filled with lunatics,
Yeah.
and it seems like every person you talk to, the way they communicate is like you'll ask them how they're doing, and they'll just run through their resume. You know what I mean? Like I went and got my eyes checked, and the optometrist started telling me about a script he was working on.
Oh no. That's terrible.
And I'm like, just tell me, do I have a lazy eye? What's going on? I don't care about your script. So Michigan, it's refreshing because like you'll get in a conversation with like a barista or somebody, and it's just a regular, everyday, down to earth conversation, and I appreciate
That's awesome.
people from Michigan for that. Yeah.
Is it politically moderate, or is it more Trump over there?
I don't know anymore. It's been because I haven't been there in a long time. What happened in the last polls? Do you remember if it flipped? I know a lot of states flipped red. I'm not sure. It's probably.
I'm a Trump supporter from the podcast. It's not a big deal.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not tiptoeing. I'm just saying it's probably evenly split. I would think. I don't really know. I wasn't paying attention during the last election as far as like results went with Michigan. I should have been, but
no, that's all right. I'm sorry to make it dark all of a sudden. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, 2. I'm the oldest of 3. Younger sister, younger brother.
Oh, really?
They both live in Michigan. My sister's the one that bought the house, and then she put my mom and brother up for the time being. I think my mom's trying to figure something out. But yeah, so that's where they are. My sister works in some type of film production.
Oh wow! Everybody likes entertainment.
We ended up that way. Nobody else in the family, but yeah, she'll get to go on jobs around the country and stuff. They'll fly her out.
Do you see her sometimes?
She was just in LA recently. I brought her to my show.
Oh, nice.
And it went well. I was so glad because I'm like, dude, if I bomb in front of my little sister and she goes back to Michigan, I'm like, yeah, he's not good. He kind of sucks. But no, it went great. Yeah, it was a fun LA night. We got to like bounce around, go to different restaurants, and like hang out. Yeah.
What's the age gap? I'm sorry, age difference. Age gap is something.
My sister's 3 years younger than me. My brother's 6 years younger than me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What does your brother do?
He is kind of just like he takes care of the house. I guess is his thing. He's managed to skirt having a job. I don't know. Do you have anybody like that in your family? Are you the oldest of?
Yeah.
You got siblings?
Oh, no, it's just me, but yeah, I have people like that in my family.
Yeah, they'll just kind of take over a house and be like, I'll take care of the yard, I guess. And they're like, all right, you can sleep in the spare room.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He's great. He's very funny.
Oh, good.
Everybody in my family is pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's good. He's shy, but like he's the type of person, once you get to know him, he's like dropping little jokes constantly.
Does everybody think you're funny?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm known for.
Good.
Dude, I have notes from my teachers from like first grade that say Ryan is an A and B honor roll student, but he finishes his work too soon and then disrupts the class. He thinks he's a stand-up comedian.
Wow, it's destiny though.
And it's like, we'll see, Miss Anderson, maybe, you know. But yeah, it's like that's always been a thing. I was always like a class clown. My household was kind of tumultuous growing up.
Yeah.
We never knew what version of dad was going to come home. He was a drinker. He chilled out with age. He became like a more sweeter version of himself as he got older. But when he was younger, you didn't know if it was going to be fun-loving dad was going to come home, make everybody a snack, or if it was going to be angry, opinionated dad. So it created this anxiety. But one thing for me that was a constant was comedy. We always had like comedy on. There was always like those Comedy Central half hours. So I feel like that was a big, I don't know, that had an effect on me. And my dad was funny. He had a good sense of humor. My grandfather had one-liners and could tell stories. All the men on my dad's side of the family, I remember going to like family get-togethers in Canada when I was a kid, and there'd just be like 6 guys telling stories, and everybody would be like hollering, laughing. And I just remember kind of seeing as a child, like, oh, that's what it is to be a man, to be able to make people laugh, tell stories. That kind of got in my head when I was young. But
why Canada?
My grandfather was from Canada.
Really?
Yeah, my grandparents were immigrants. My grandma from Germany. My grandfather was English-Canadian.
Oh.
Yeah, but very funny people.
The class clown thing.
Yeah.
Were you popular as a kid?
I wasn't one of the popular kids, but people knew who I was from being goofy. Like, I wasn't like a popular, like, everybody, like, I was friends with everybody. I was friends with like weirdos and goths, and like I was a bit of an I would hang out with the goths.
There you go with the goth.
I'd go, hey, nice eyeliner you have today, and the bangs.
Nice neck choke, whatever the thing is.
Got your bangs swooped today, real nice. That must have taken some time. I see you. So I was friends with everybody, even like the jocks, and like my sister was popular.
Oh, really?
So by proxy, I became friends with some of the popular people through my sister, but. Because we were both in school, I think at the same time for a little bit. What? She was a sought-after item. People liked her, and then we had this. She had hot friends, and and then me and the friends would get together, and that would piss the sister off, and like that was a whole.
What do you mean get together?
We would hook up. I would hook up with the hot friends, because it was like
I don't know how to feel about
it was a perfect situation. There was a 2-year age difference, maybe 3 years, but it was like I would be home, and my sister would just bring hot friends home.
This is some kind of a porn scenario. Don't tell me this.
Yes, very much. No, it's not a porn scenario. It wasn't like I would just, that would be the meat. That would be the introduction. The meat. Why did I say that? That would be the introduction. Awesome. So I would meet these attractive, my sister's friends, and then that would be my end. So we'd go to like a house party, and then I'd be like, oh, I know her. She's been over my house. I'd go talk to her, chat her up, a couple of jokes, and then good to go.
But they weren't really developed by then.
Yeah, these are like 17-year-old. I was like 19. They were 17. You know what I'm saying? Is that illegal?
What's the age of consent in Michigan?
Hey Siri, what's the age of consent in Michigan?
Oh, I don't need Siri.
The age of consent in Michigan is 16.
16. I'm in the clear.
This is from notafraidtown.com.
I can only say that I'm jealous.
But that was
talking about?
That was just the dynamic between my sister and I. And like awesome. You asked if I was popular. I wasn't really popular, but I was known for doing crazy shit.
Nice.
I remember junior high. We were dissecting frogs in science class, and this kid Grant turned around and looked at me, and he said, "Hey, Ryan, you know you're not a man unless you put the frog's liver in your mouth." And I very nonchalantly just replied, "Oh yeah, I know that." And I picked it up and put the frog's liver in my mouth and pretended to chew it while I just stared at him and sort of smiled. I didn't really chew it, though. Nobody knows this. I spit it out later. But then after that class, everybody was like, there's that guy. There's that guy that did that thing. So it was like people knew who I was from doing crazy shit. Like if you were my friend and we were in class together and you threw like a little piece of paper at me to get my attention, I would overreact and fall out of my seat.
Yeah.
I was just like that kind of like clown. I had that type of energy, you know?
Were you, you weren't bullied as a kid?
You
seem like a very assertive person.
I got both. I got both things because I got bullied by some, and then I was a bully as well. I remember we had weird dynamics in my schools growing up. Like there would be like an alpha kid, and then some of us would attach onto the alpha kid, and then we would go and fight people at recess for some reason. When we would fight when some of the schools merged. Yeah, when the schools merged.
That's awesome.
You know, like from elementary, and then when the schools went to like 4th through 6th, now it was a bunch of different schools merged into one school, and then there were a bunch of alphas, and then now we had like real competition. For the first time, we saw our alpha getting messed with by another alpha.
That's crazy.
So then it was like little gangs almost, and we would fight each other. We would fight each other on the playground all the time. So there was some of that, and there was some bullying, and there was some, people, you'd get sucker punched if you played basketball and someone didn't like a move you did or something, or you got over on them. Yeah, there was like some of that.
Wait, I didn't understand the last part. You would do crossover so nasty. They would hit you? Is that what
They would get mad. They would get pissed off. Your crossover was so nasty. You put me on my ass. Now I'm going to punch you. And it doesn't make any sense. It was all, that was like, I remember 6th grade or something like that. It was just nonsense, kids being idiots. But yeah.
Were you into sports?
A little bit, yeah. I played baseball when I was a kid, and then I played basketball into junior high, and football. I was a halfback my first season, and then I was a cornerback my second season.
Oh, wow.
We went undefeated the second season. That was fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I grew up with sports, but then when high school came around, I found weed and started playing guitar.
And you didn't play anything in high school?
No. I actually dropped out of high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because of weed?
Not really. I was an honor roll student, but I was bored, and I didn't like what I was being taught or how I was being taught, I guess. I found it very boring. Yeah. And I had older friends who had their own place. Yeah. So I had a much better time like going and hanging out with them, just living my life. And so I would skip school sometimes 2 weeks at a time. Yeah. And my family didn't know. Huh. Because when I was skipping school, I was making a fake report card that showed that I was still an honor roll student. Okay. Like I said, I was the oldest, so I was the first one that went to that high school in my family, so they didn't know what the report card looked like. Yeah. So for a while, my parents were hanging up fake report cards of mine on the refrigerator, and then my dad got a call one day. So, Michigan, right? It was wintertime. My dad was a master carpenter. He built houses. Oh, wow. So he was going to work, but it was heavily snowing that day. And I stayed home from school sick, and then me and my friends grabbed our snowboards and went to these sand dunes that we could walk to a couple miles away and just hit these little jumps and stuff. And my dad came home from work because there was too much snow. And when he got home, he noticed I wasn't home, and he thought that I had a perfect attendance record. So he called up to the school to check on me because he thought, Ryan must have went to school to keep up that perfect attendance record. And then the school was like, Ryan hasn't been here in over 2 weeks. And my dad was like, motherfucker. Oh, no. And, dude, my dad tracked me down in the snow. He followed the footprints for a couple miles. Oh, no. And me and my friends are snowboarding, having a good time. And I just hear, Ryan! And me and my friends are like, oh, shit. And it was my dad. He tracked me down. So I got in trouble there. And that's how it was like, known that I wasn't going to school. And then it became a whole thing where I was like, well, let me do homeschooling. And so my mom bought this computer system where I could do homeschooling from. My dad hated it. He was against this idea. He wanted me to go and just finish school. But my mom was like, we'll do this. And I found her passwords to all the tests because it was like password protected, the homeschooling thing. Yeah. So every day I would wake up and I would just type in her password and find all the answers to the tests and just fill it in, and then I'd go hang out with my friends.
You were kind of, what do you call it?
I was a bit, I was rebellious. I've always been a bit rebellious, but like, I never caused any real trouble, but like I was skipping school all the time. My teenage years were very interesting. Like my friends that I knew, they like, my friend John, his mom moved across country and just left him a house. And he was like 16, I was like 15, 16. So we were just teenagers with a house of our own.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and we just...
What's wrong with that mom?
The mom was just, she just uprooted. She had to go take a job or something, I think, in Colorado. So in Michigan, we just had a house of our own. And none of us went to school. and we all just were like smoking weed and drinking. And in the living room, there was a drum set with a half stack guitar amp, and like we would just jam out all the time. In the basement, there was a recording studio. So my teenage years were just, it was like I was living some type of rock star lifestyle, but like nobody knew who any of us were. We were just.
Were there bitches?
Yeah. We would throw parties. We would throw raves. We would like, it was wild. I always say my teen years were like Superbad meets Requiem for a Dream. It was like Superbad with a dark twist. There was like, yeah, definitely a lot of drug use.
What kind of drug?
All of them, man. All of them. We weren't picky. If you had drugs, we'd be like, oh, come hang out.
Oh.
But we were like, for me, it was ecstasy. That was really the gateway drug. I started doing ecstasy, and then that led to like all sorts of shit, wild stuff. I mean, people were ketamine, cocaine, meth. There was some girl we found and took her in, and her mom was like a crackhead. And then, this is so insane. Her mom was a crackhead, right? And we're at a party one night, and we're just hanging out, and we're trying to show her a good time because we know her life's very difficult. We're like, come to a party with us and hang out. You'll be good there. We're trying to smoke some weed one night, and we don't have a pipe. And this girl goes, oh, here, you can use this pipe. So we start using a pipe, and we're smoking weed, right? And my friend goes, hey, man, my lips are numb.
Oh, no.
And I go, yeah, my lips are numb, too. What's going on? And this girl that we took in was like, oh, that's my mom's crack pipe. She only smokes crack out of it. And we're like, why would you give us this? That was like a thing I never wanted to do. It was really wild, but
How was it?
it was great.
Oh,
And then when we ran out, we were looking for that pipe later on that night at like 6 a.m. Crazy.
But Ryan, you seem like you don't even drink coffee anymore. So are you okay? I mean, are you still drinking drugs?
No. I've been sober for over 6 years.
Oh, really?
No drugs, no alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, none of that.
Oh, that's a pretty 180-degree change.
Yeah. It's like I got it out of my system when I was young. I mean, it went on for years, but
No alcohol?
no alcohol now. I
Oh,
stopped. I was never good at drinking, and I drank for years, and I just never got better at it. I would black out most of the time. I would wake up just in like a pile of vomit and be like, what happened? And then people would tell me insane things about me, and I'd go,
Oh, nice.
what?
That's
It was
awesome.
every day. It was like I was a detective trying to figure out what went on the night before. And it was weird that I drank so long because most of the experiences were like that. You'd think a person would stop early on, but I kept going and going and going. And then it was weird because the last straw for me drinking, I was going to say goodbye to my grandmother who was on her deathbed.
Oh, no.
So I was flying to Michigan, and I told myself, it was typical for me to have a couple Bloody Marys on the plane. But this was a morning flight, and I'm like, hey, Rye guy, we're just going to have coffee. Like, this is my inner monologue. We're just going to have a cup of coffee. That's reasonable. And then I get on the plane, and as soon as they come over, I go, 2 Bloody Marys, please. And then I was just mad at myself that I couldn't even listen to myself. You know what I mean? I was like mad. It was just weird that I couldn't, I made a rule, and then I couldn't follow it. So I was like, dude, you're done after that. I was like, we got to stop. And then my life's been better ever since.
Bloody Mary is an interesting choice.
Delicious. Have you ever had one?
Isn't it like tomatoes?
It's like a tomato mix of some sort, but it has spices and all sorts of stuff in there. Do you drink?
It looks good though.
Do you drink?
I actually don't.
Okay, I was gonna say you could have a virgin. They do a virgin if you just want to taste what that mix tastes like.
That's like a Bloody Virgin Mary drink.
Yeah.
Man, are you like a sensitive person?
Sensitive? How so? Like
I don't know, you were
emotionally?
talking about coffee earlier.
Oh.
And then, you were talking about the blacking out. And
Yeah.
I feel like the drug use.
That's interesting.
Maybe you need a lot of like stimulation. So I'm not sure. You ever think about it? Like,
I could see where I actually have a little bit on this. There's I don't know that any of this is true, but I did a documentary one time, and there were a bunch of therapists on set for the documentary, and I was talking to them, and I was explaining some things I've gone through, and they told me that I was, oh my God, there's a word for it that I can't remember. It's when your nervous system is more sensitive than the average person. Like, so, this is weird. When I go out to eat, for some reason, I can really hear like everybody's conversations going on. And it's overstimulating. And I used to think I had social anxiety, but after talking to these therapists, they're like, no, your nervous system's just heightened. So I'm picking up on 100 conversations, plus the music, plate noise, whatever's going on. And it can become, that's why I like chill, quiet, like spots, diners and stuff like that. So there is something to that. I don't know that I believe the therapist necessarily, and I mean, no studies were really done on me, but they said something to the fact that I have like a sensitive nature, I guess.
With like music, hearing? Something auditory, right?
It can be auditory, but it's just my nervous system, I guess, is heightened. I don't know, but I don't know if that's real. I don't know who these people were. They said they were therapists on this job I was working on. But that's interesting that you picked up on that, given everything we've talked about.
All right, how did you meet your girlfriend?
Oh, I was working at a restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. We both worked there. It was fun. It was like kind of like a diner type situation. It was mainly a breakfast spot, really popular breakfast spot in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was working in the back of house. I think I was a food runner. And she was one of the waitresses.
Oh, nice.
And I had been single for like 6 years. I had a really terrible relationship from 18 to 22. It was just, we did all the worst things you can do in a relationship. We were both very controlling and just, it was bad news. And then after that relationship, I'm like, I'm not going to date anymore. So I stayed single for 6 years. It was a lot of fun. But when I worked at this restaurant and I met my now girlfriend, I was very interested in her. I thought she was cute and I wanted to take her out on a date, but it turns out that she had a boyfriend.
Oh, no.
So I was like, oh, that sucks. And then, so what I did was I just manipulated her and made him look real bad, and they broke. I'm kidding. They eventually just like broke up. And then I was around, obviously, because we worked together. And
you were just waiting.
I was kind. I was nice to her, and I was like, hey, I'll take you out. I'll, get your mind off of things and yada yada. And we just. But I always felt like she liked me, and come to find out she did. She had a thing for me, and that, I don't know if that played in them breaking up, maybe. But she would give me these hugs that were phenomenal. It was a different than normal hug. Most people just a little there was like a tightness, a squeeze, and I liked that, and I was like, oh, it made me think of her. And she was weird. She like would wear these baggy shorts, and I'd be like, what's going on under there? What's going on under the baggy shorts? I must find out. And I was just intrigued by this person. And we've been together for 10 years now.
Oh, wow. 10. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of like a Jim and Pam situation.
A little bit.
Did you watch The Office?
I did. I always thought Roy and Pam should have ended up together.
Why?
That's just...
You are the Jim in this situation.
No, I know. I like to bother people. I like to antagonize a little bit. So I've always rooted for Roy and Pam. And everyone's like, what are you talking about?
It's interesting. What does your girlfriend do now? Do you live together in Burbank?
She what is it called? She was like a manager of the online department over at Erewhon.
What, really?
Yeah, so she would take care of all the online orders. She was running that department. But she hated it. And she recently stepped down. They keep her at the same pay, same benefits. She stepped down, went down to 4 days a week rather than 5.
That's nice.
And now she loves her life again.
Nice.
It was just too much. It's too repetitive, going to the same place, hearing the same playlist over and over and over again. But yeah, she went down to 4 days, and now we're having a blast. A little blasty blast.
I was actually working in a restaurant. I'm not sure if you've heard of Silver Lake Ramen.
Yeah, is that the one that's in that little?
Yeah.
I walk by it all the time because I literally live right over there. That's where I live, pretty much in that area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a falling out with the. I guess I can edit it out.
You can edit it out. Say names.
No. Yeah, there are Mexican people. 90% of the Mexican staff are very nice to me behind the kitchen, but there's a lot of like yelling and like berating.
Back of house.
Yeah, but maybe you're used to that. I wasn't very used to it.
No, that's it. Restaurants are filled with crazy people.
Yeah.
Have you worked in a lot of restaurants?
Not a lot, but like 5 or 6. Yeah.
It's always, especially the back of the house. There's usually like some chef back there who's a lunatic, and then he brings in crazy people with him, and it's just, and there's a lot of like alcoholism in restaurants and drug use, and it's just no good.
Sounds like the one in Charlotte was the right place for you at the time. Good
It was
environment.
fine, and I look back on it with fond memories, but I did quit. I did call in on a Saturday busy shift and just go, I'm not doing it.
Oh yeah.
Bye. And whoever answered the phone wasn't one of the managers, but
Oh,
he
no.
knew who I was, and he just went, congratulations.
That's funny. How long did you work there?
A couple years
Oh,
at
nice.
least, maybe 2-3 years.
That's awesome.
But this was the type of place, like on Mother's Day, there'd be a line wrapped around the
Yeah,
building.
that's
And
crazy.
it'd just be like,
You must have
I
really
used to
busy.
have nightmares about
Oh,
the
no.
ticket machine.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever watch the show The Bear?
Nah.
Jeremy Allen White,
Nah.
I think that's what it was called. That show gives me anxiety watching it because they picked up on that perfectly. Just the tickets going nonstop.
I see.
And then like today with like Uber and DoorDash, it's even more so. And it's just, I'm so glad I don't do that for money anymore. So wait, what are you doing now?
It just happened like yesterday, so I'm gonna pick up my check today or tomorrow.
Oh wow, this is fresh.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll find something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
Only for like a month.
Okay.
I got laid off from my office job a long time ago. So
Yeah, I remember you looking for work
yeah. Oh yeah.
a while ago. Like I was talking to you because I was in the same boat and I was doing
You were
different.
doing the
think I might-
van thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are you still doing it?
No, it's so horrible.
What? Oh, Mike
Just-
Riley.
It's because it's manual labor,
Oh, yeah.
and then especially during this time of year, like
Yeah.
my buddy owned a van and I was helping them move. Essentially, there was an app that's kind of like Uber, but it's for
Yeah.
your things, and all you do all day is go from job to job.
Michael, right? No?
Scott.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, well, he's linked up with Michael, I think. Yeah, but I worked with Scott, but then I met a guy that we had to move a cryo chamber for, and the guy just liked the way we worked,
Oh, nice.
and so we would come and help this person set up like. There's things called cryo conferences where there's like it's cryocon, and you go there and there's a bunch of lunatics. These people are so scary. They'll shake your hand so tight and just like lock in on your eyes and never break. You know these types of business types? They're terrifying people. But we've set up cryo chambers for these types of
Oh, wow.
lunatics, right? And then I ended up talking to the guy I was setting up for. I'm like, hey, I have a background in doing some electrical work that I learned in the movie industry. Is there any way you could train me on some of these machines,
Yeah.
and then I can go out on the road and do these installs on my own?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'll train you.
Oh, wow.
So I've been doing that since September, and they
Are you
fly.
serious?
Yeah, they fly me all over the country. They've even flown me I went to Mexico to
That's
do an
awesome.
install. Yeah, the cool thing is like I can do those jobs during the day. I do an installation. It's mainly at like a spa or like a lot of like athletic clubs for colleges or
Holy
sports
crap.
teams for like the NFL and stuff. And then at night in these different cities, I can hit up their comedy clubs and try to get in
What?
with them and I'm trying to develop relationships with comedy clubs throughout the country.
Holy crap.
It's going very slow. Not a lot of. I think my tactics need to be changed a little bit because I'm always sending like an introductory email to bookers, and I have a electronic press kit and everything. But they never get back to me in time while I'm there. It's always when I'm back here, and then they'll get a hold of me, and I'm like,
wow.
But at least I have an in with them now. But Adam Fink told me to stop getting a hold of the clubs altogether. He's like, just look at what comedians are in town that night and just DM them directly and be like, can I get a guest spot or can I host? So I'm going to start trying that.
Yeah.
But the thing with the job, though, is like, it's not a Monday through Friday job. I only worked 4 days last month.
Yeah.
They pay me well enough, so if I work, really I need to work 5 days to cover my monthly expenses and then have a little bit more, but like, yeah, so it reminds me a lot of the film industry in that it's gig to gig.
Yeah.
So right now I'm waiting to hear about something. I might be going to Chicago next week and then Washington, and I never know. So I'm like, I've got a lot of time. I'm just bouncing around LA.
It sounds like it worked out for you.
Yeah, if I can keep
what
that
led
going.
you to the job?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like the work, and I get to work by myself. I don't, I don't work the best with it. I used to run teams of people, so I'm used to being in charge and telling people what to do.
Yeah.
So when I get into situations where I'm working with a bunch of other people and they want to start telling me what to do, it's a little abrasive, and I can be a little confrontational.
Yeah.
But I like this job because I work by myself
Nice.
for the most part.
Nice.
But yeah,
if you can hook me up.
I'll keep an ear to the ground.
Thank you.
Are you good with tools?
No. I'd rather be honest.
You
Why
gotta-
did you ask me that question?
Because you have to
I
have
barely
a.
do a screwdriver.
You have to, yeah. I had to put together a whole tool kit. Like I had
Oh,
to spend hundreds
nice.
of dollars, get drills, wrenches, all sorts
Oh,
of.
you good at that stuff?
Yeah. Because I used to work with my dad when I was a kid,
Oh,
and like I
carpenter.
said, but my dad was amazing because he was like a master carpenter, but he could
Hey.
also do mechanical. He could do plumbing,
That's
electrical.
crazy.
I don't remember any people coming over to the house when I was a kid to work on the house. It was always my dad. Maybe like one time somebody came over, but I learned that from my dad. Is like, oh,
Interesting.
I'm capable of doing things, and I was like, how did you know how to do this? He just said, I went to the library and read a book, and
Oh,
then I went
wow.
and did it. And like for us, it's way easier. We can just go on YouTube now. So
True.
so I just have the mindset of I can do whatever it is, even if I've never done it before. I just automatically think I can figure this out, and I think there's a skill in that.
Any kind of IKEA, Amazon thing.
Yeah, that's child's play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's,
That's
yeah, I don't want to show you, but then
You got some
process-
work for me?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I give up. I buy something, I give up, and then they're all in there.
Wow.
It is definitely a skill. My best friend in North Carolina, I think he wanted to be like a carpenter, so he's
Oh.
always doing like, carving
Oh
a
yeah.
horse out of like a wood block.
Yeah.
Right, Mm.
Are you sure you wanted to be a carpenter or just like an old Southern guy sitting on a porch whittling?
I guess it was just his hobby. Yeah.
Just as yeah.
It was cool though. I could never do it. I feel like I'm very like. Well, it's probably like I just don't have any
Well,
experience with it.
you
Yeah.
came from like office environments,
Yeah.
right? They oftentimes say you're going to go one of two ways. Either you're going to
Oh,
work
really?
with your hands or you're going to work with your head.
Um,
I've had office jobs too. I used to be editor for like, I used to work for marketing companies and
You've had a lot of jobs.
yeah, I bounced from thing
Yeah.
to thing. And I mean, I worked in the film industry for like 7 years. That was probably the longest job I had. I liked it. It was nice, but
How old are you, Ryan?
I just turned 40.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Don't tell anyone. Want people to think I'm youthful.
You're useful.
I do stay pretty youthful. I'd like to get one of those tests. They can test your cells to tell your cellular age
Whoa.
versus your calendar age, I think. You know anything
That's
about that?
crazy.
Yeah. And you can reverse your cellular age
How?
with lifestyle, just by like healthy activities,
Oh.
all that sort of stuff. They're doing a lot of these studies out of Harvard
Oh.
that are really interesting studies on age.
Interesting. Is that what you were doing? Reversing?
I didn't know about it. I just started finding out about it, and then I'm like, I wonder if I've done some of that. Because I used to do a lot of hard drugs. You would think I would look much older and more beat up than I do. But now I'm just like complimenting myself on camera. Delete all of this.
Is there any other comics that you're friends with who do hard drugs?
I don't think I'm friends with anybody that openly does hard drugs.
Yeah, I
You?
feel like you're the first person who talked about it very openly.
Yeah, do you remember? Oh, you know what? Sean Mahoney.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like we developed kind of a friendship. I know he bounces back and forth from Rhode Island to here, or excuse me, Block Island. But yeah, he was very open about
Yeah.
crack and all that sort of stuff. So I always like talking to him about stories and things like that. I do mushrooms once a year now. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I had a bad trip. I don't do it.
I don't do it for pleasure. I don't do it out of recreation. I do it. There's a Johns Hopkins psilocybin like protocol, and you're supposed to do it with a therapist. But so when my dad died, I thought that my fear was I was going to become the type of person that bottled my feelings up and became angry. And I'm like, this isn't going to be good for my relationship. It's not going to be good for my comedy. And I was in between health insurance plans at the time, so I couldn't do any bereavement like therapy. So I looked into this protocol, and I ended up. So you meditate, you set an intention for what you want out of the experience, and then there's a 4 to 5 hour playlist that Johns Hopkins has set up that goes along perfectly with a psilocybin trip. Like they've done their research over the
Really?
years. Yeah.
Wow.
It
You
is
did it?
synced up perfect. I've done it the last 3 years.
Holy shit.
Every March I do it now as like sort of a reset almost, and it's good. And my girlfriend, she could tell a difference in me. She
Oh
was
my
like, "You
God.
seem lighter. You seem just like a happier, more pleasant version. And these just a single trip, it'll affect your personality
That's
and
crazy.
your mood for a while. But it's not enjoyable. It's very difficult. Like you said, you had a bad trip. Aspects of this therapy are challenging because you have to eat a certain amount. You're supposed to eat 2.5 grams, and then you meditate. You lay on your couch. You put in the music, and then you cover your eyes with like an eye mask or something, and then you're just there for the next 4 to 5 hours. And you start to hallucinate, getting closed eye visuals, and it gets all geometric and really crazy. And the music starts to kick in. At first, it's very like soundscape-ish, and it's just like, and then once the trip starts kicking in, it gets a little more rhythmic, and then it really picks up with like some classical stuff or with like a big crescendo. And it was weird. I was like, I went to adjust my mask, and I felt my face, and my face was wet. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I took my mask off for a second. I was completely unknowingly weeping. And I had no idea. But that's what I had written down that I wanted, was an emotional release, because I didn't want to bottle it up. So I was like, oh, that's insane how that happened. And then you come out of that experience, and I felt like you have like a sort of sense of like euphoria, but also like a new appreciation for life. So I recommend it to people. It was an especially hard decision for me to make, being a sober person. But I was like, I think the benefits are going to be very good, and it's not the type of thing I'm going to abuse. And so far, I've done it every March since then. So I've done it 3 times now, and it's the lesson in the first one was to just be. Because I think part of my thing is like I want to be free. I want to be free from like all the negative emotion and all that. And then the lesson was to just be. And I think that the lesson to just be is like letting go of all that, right? To just be and not try to fit into anything, and just being is all right. And then my trip this year, it expanded on the lesson from the previous year, and it said not only to just be, but to let all things be. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because I can be kind of controlling.
Wait, how did you come to this? During the hallucination or after?
Yeah. No, during it.
During it.
It's like the mushrooms are showing you aspects of yourself, and they're bringing up memories that you need to look at and re-examine.
Were you seeing those?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah, because you're just in this environment where it's some sensory
That's
deprivation
crazy.
because you have the mask on. So I'm being shown things that I'm short-tempered with, and it almost felt like the mushrooms were making fun of me, like roasting me in a way, busting my balls at one point, because I was like, I'm pretty even-keeled in my life. I'm a chill guy, but traffic is still one thing that gets me like worked. I get pissed. And when I first moved here, I'm like, the people that live in LA drive like fucking assholes. I'm never going to be one of those assholes. That was my goal. Never be one of these assholes. And then the mushrooms started showing me how I've become this asshole. Almost in a way where it was busting my balls. And I was laughing hysterically on my couch to these realizations, because it was showing me my own hypocrisies. And I was like, what the fuck?
You mean the memories where you were an asshole?
Yeah, where now I drive that way. Now now I'm a dickhead out there. You know what I mean? And now I'm not using a turn signal. I'm zipping all over. And it's like, but it was the mushrooms show you all these sorts of things. So it's interesting, and it's
crazy.
Yeah.
What is in LA?
I didn't do it with a therapist.
Oh.
I did it on my own. So I found a company that delivers the mushrooms to you.
You do it at home?
Yeah, and then I just did it at home when I knew my girlfriend was going to be at work, and then I'm just chilling on the couch. You get very comfortable. I knew that I was going to do it on this specific date. I set an intention. I do some breath work, and then I get to work. But it's some of the time it's not enjoyable because the trip gets so intense, and I'll be like squirming on my couch by myself. But often things that suck in the moment are beneficial later, right? Like working out sucks. It's not. I do it every day, but it's like it sucks in the moment, but later it feels good, like cold therapy, all that sort of stuff. So I kind of subscribe to that, and but it's very beneficial. Let's get some mushrooms, dude.
Yeah. I mean, now you make us want to do mushrooms. So,
no, but it's not done in a fun, like, I would never do it in a way where I'm like at a party and
Really?
hanging out with people. Not at all. No way. No. That to me is a thing I do by myself once a year in a therapeutic sense with a certain intention, and yeah.
I thought you needed probably like a girlfriend or like a babysitter to watch you.
It's probably not a bad idea, but I would be curious to do it with an actual therapist because they do have these therapies available to people. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird because I think like the mushrooms were making fun of me several times. There was one time, like I went through all this setting an intention, meditating, and then the mushrooms, just my closed-eyed visuals started being just buttholes flashing. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I'm trying to learn something here. And then it's just like patterned buttholes. Like there's like 4 rows of 4. So I'm looking at 16 buttholes. And that was kind of like me, like the mushrooms were like, oh, you set an intention. You think you're going to... It was like almost making fun of me for trying to control an experience again. That's like another theme that I kept learning throughout my trips.
That's crazy.
Is that I try to control situations. And that's why it was like, let all things be, was the lesson out of the last one. And I was like, oh, okay. It just shows you your bullshit, I think.
Do you recommend this?
Yeah, but it's just you have to go into it with a certain intention and understand that it's not going to be easy. And it might, like every time I've done it, which is the past 3 years in a row, there's been moments where I regretted doing it. And that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're filled with anxiety at that point. But then my last one, it kept telling me to let all things be, and I kept repeating that almost as a mantra, and that would calm me down. I don't know. It depends on the person. I would read about it and see if you feel like it's right for you. But
all right, can you talk about the caffeine thing? Because it sounded interesting. You're completely off caffeine now?
No, not completely off caffeine. So I drink 1 cup of black tea in the morning, and then sometimes I'll have a Diet Coke. Gotta have a DC. Yeah. Gotta have That's how much of a Diet Coke addict I am. I call it a DC, yeah.
But I feel like regular people, we sometimes, working and stuff, you drink like at least like 2 cups a day.
Yeah, probably.
You found that it kind of noticeably affects you.
Yeah, it'll like, there'll be like a lingering anxiety.
Me too.
So it's like even just 1 cup, and I love coffee. I think it tastes amazing.
Me too.
I drank it for like 15 years until recently, and I used to drink a pot of coffee a day.
Oh, dang.
I used to drink a lot of coffee and just write and like, but then something happened recently. It stopped. Like every time, I'll just have 1 cup.
Yeah.
And it'll just, for 4 hours, there'll just be like a jitteriness, anxiety running in the background. It's not debilitating. I can still function and go out and do things, but it's annoying as shit. And I'm like, I'm tired of this feeling, so I'm just gonna, I guess, not drink coffee anymore.
Do you feel better?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah. Why? You have issues with caffeine?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like amazing on caffeine, and sometimes it's like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, the problem is like things like croissants go so well with coffee.
Yeah.
And like baked goods and stuff, and dunking them in there. That's always nice.
Right, I think we have like 6 minutes. If I could send this video to the 45-year-old version of yourself, about 5 years, 2030, what would you say to yourself, to your future self?
They'd probably be like, "Hey, just shut up about your philosophy on mushrooms. You don't need to talk about. You don't need to talk
about 20 minutes.
You don't need to do 20 minutes on you squirming on your couch like a moron, figuring out that you're controlling. Maybe shut up about that." Yeah, I would definitely say that. I don't know. Did we talk about comedy much? Are we supposed to talk about comedy?
We don't have to. I mean.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, we can. Do you want to say anything about comedy?
You like comedy?
Oh yeah, who's your favorite comedian? Again, I wanted to ask you.
Bill Cosby.
You're kidding, right?
Yeah.
You're not?
No, I am kidding. Yeah, he's got some good stuff. If you go back and watch it, he's got favorite Louis.
Really?
Yeah, 100% Louis, hands down.
Nice.
Second favorite, Ian or Rousso.
Oh, you're just messing around at this point. No, like Seinfeld or like.
No, I was never. I had an appreciation. I grew up watching Seinfeld. I liked dirtier comics. I liked people who were saying things that maybe you shouldn't be saying. I've always been attracted to that. I didn't grow up in like a very clean environment with those sensibilities. Like I appreciate Nate Bargatze and stuff like that, but I've always liked the people who are saying lunatic shit. like a Tim Dillon.
Um,
Like he does it for me. I appreciate what the stuff he says.
Shane Gillis.
I like Shane. Yeah.
Anthony Jeselnik.
I used to like Anthony Jeselnik, but now I don't. Something about the way he talks bothers me, and I can't listen to him anymore. And I feel annoyed by him.
Any woman that stood out to you?
Women, huh?
That's it for the podcast. No, we actually have 5 more minutes.
I like Whitney Cummings.
Oh.
I like her. I like during the pandemic, she sort of seemed like she was losing her goddamn mind.
Isn't she a Flappers a lot?
She does pop in over there, yeah,
Um,
from time to time.
What do you think about the whole woke thing here in LA?
I don't hang out in any of those circles where wokeness is really predominant.
You're not like a liberal person.
No, not anymore. I grew up in. I probably am a liberal person, but I'm just not aligned with liberals of today. I'm probably more liberal from like 90s or something back in the day. Like the party has changed. I'm probably so liberal I'm a conservative now. I think no. I just think the party has changed so much that I don't identify with them anymore. And I'm no longer registered as a Democrat. Like I feel like that's happened with a lot of the country. And
are you Republican?
No, I'm not a Republican either. I've been really enjoying like a libertarian point of view because I feel like they will be critical of either side, which is good, but more so they'll be say when either side did something right. And that to me is refreshing because when I'm talking to somebody and let's say my mom, for example, hates all Republicans. When I talk to a person like that thinks all Republicans are bad, it's very clear to me that they're unreasonable and they're getting their news from a biased source.
That's true.
Or like on the other side of it, relatives I have that are Republican who think Democrats are, it's the same thing. It's like you're getting your news from a very biased source. So lately I've been liking a more libertarian perspective. Just I find it refreshing.
I don't really know any libertarians.
Dave Smith is a libertarian. He's a comedian on the
really?
East Coast, but he's like dedicated the last like however many years to just politics. That's his thing. So that's where I get most of my updates as far as what's going on, and I feel like it's a good, honest take on what's going on. And he'll do.
He's a politician.
No, he's a comedian.
Oh, he's a comedian.
He's a comedian that is just very into politics.
That's awesome.
It's like all his main focus. So that's where I get a lot from. I like Ron Paul. I get a newsletter from Ron Paul. There's also a news source called 1440, I think.
Ron Paul sounds so familiar.
He ran for presidency in like 2012, I think, or somewhere around then.
I thought he's not related to Logan Paul?
That's not Logan Paul's uncle, is it? No, it's no. I think he's a libertarian as well, and I appreciate his point of view. But that's kind of where I stand because when I was a kid, like to be a Democrat meant you were freedom of speech. It meant that you were anti-war, and now it's like the Democratic Party is supporting wars. They're supporting censorship, and it's just something about it doesn't sit right with me. I don't like the identity politics. I feel like they did a terrible job running their campaign as far as addressing the needs of people, and I think that's kind of why you saw so many states flip. Also, there's like an elitism on the left where it feels like you're being spoken down to, and I don't think people like that. I don't like it.
You know a lot more about him than I do. Do you like Trump?
I don't think he's a good president, and I don't like a lot of what he is doing right now because it seems like he got voted in under this idea that he was going to be a president of peace because under his first term he didn't get us involved in any more new conflicts. So there was an idea that he was going to be a president of peace and maybe shake things up a bit, but he just seems to be playing ball. And we're still sending money to Israel. I don't know what's going on in Ukraine. It seems like we're still, so it just seems like any other politician. I did think he was a better candidate than Kamala, but I don't, I don't think he's a good president.
Because Kamala was so.
Kamala felt like she wasn't running on anything. She was running on, I'm not Donald Trump. And when they asked her, what would you do different than Biden? She said nothing. She wouldn't change anything. And it's like, well,
You're right about that. Sorry about that. Do you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast?
Occasionally, yeah. Depending on the guest. I don't like when he has a comic on, but when he has somebody who is like an expert in some field, I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you ask? You?
I don't know. It's hard to put a read on you, Ryan, but it's been very interesting.
I'm rather diplomatic.
You are diplomatic.
Yeah. My grandfather always said that.
Oh, really? No, I do listen to Joe Rogan podcast, but sometimes you listen to it too much and you become this like Burt Hung-like character. Burt is a huge Trump supporter.
Dude.
I've never seen a stronger Trump supporter. I wouldn't be like, dude, get out! I can't invite any more people if you're gonna support Trump like this. So,
That is so true. Yeah, I love Bert.
I love Burt
He's
too.
great.
Sorry, Burt.
But yeah, we really connect because we'll talk about that
Oh,
sort
really?
of thing. Yeah. We connect because I know he watches the podcast and I do, but just not all the time. I don't like when Joe Rogan has comedians on. I'm tired of like Bert Kreischer. I'm tired of what's his name, Tom Segura.
Oh, really?
They're boring to me. I don't want to listen to them. But I just like experts in a field, especially if it's something very interesting.
Me
you
too.
know? And I like health related stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you ever listen to like Gary Brecka?
No.
No, he's interesting. But I'm into all that sort of biohacking type stuff, dude. I have a red light
Nice.
panel. I do cold showers in the morning.
Oh, you do
Like,
cold showers?
I start the day off with a cold shower and then 20 minutes red light therapy, and then I have a sauna blanket. I have like
Holy shit, dude.
a protocol that I'm following with like hydrogen tablets in my water and all sorts of stuff.
One last question. Are you friends with all the other Michigan comics like Jacob Rosales,
Yeah,
Adam Fink,
yeah,
Miranda?
yeah. I like all of them a lot.
Anybody else?
Sam.
Sam Brillhart?
Yeah, Sam Brillhart.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's a Michigan guy. Connor
McKinney?
McKinney, another
Oh.
Michigan guy.
I didn't know Connor was Michigan.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. A lot of good Michigan people out
A lot
here.
of good Michigan people.
Yeah. I like all of them. There's a like you're automatic like for me, they're all from Michigan. I automatically like them. And none of them have done anything to piss me off, so
Yeah.
they're all good in my book. You know what I mean? I treat it like I do when I go out to eat. I'm gonna tip at least 20%, if not more, unless you fuck up somehow. Then you're gonna get a 15% tip or less.
What do you mean? We just find out they're from Michigan?
No, not. I'm just relating the two things of how like when I go out to eat, I already know I'm gonna tip well unless you fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
If you fuck up, I'm tipping you less.
Yeah.
The same thing for Michigan people. I already like you.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt already. Unless you fuck up,
Yeah,
then I'm kind of
yeah.
like, all right, get out of here.
Yeah, this is a great Michigan group here in LA.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Ryan. Everybody from Michigan is great, except for maybe Jacob Rosales and Miranda Meadows. So everyone, bye.
That's so
that's fun.
funny.